Welcome along to the Cardiff City phone-in, and tonight you may well notice we're going out in different places, which is great. And the reason for that is the chap with the beard sitting there with the City flag behind him, Mr. Simon Willis. So Simon, thanks very much for setting that up. We'll come back to you in a second. We talk a little bit about Cardiff City World, but thanks very much for having us on your channel and on your organisation, whatever it is, whatever the right word is for it. Alworth, thanks again for coming back tonight.
Thanks very much, Steve. Thanks for having me.
We were going to have Andy Dibble on the show tonight, which we were both really looking forward to. But unfortunately, Andy's got an online coaching commitment at the same time. He's apologised. He says he's really looking forward to it. I'm hoping we'll get him on even next week, but we'll get him on as soon as we can. And that'd be great. And Richard Davis in his fine shirt. Hello, Richard.
Good evening, all. Hope everyone's okay.
We'll come to you in a bit, Richard, because we want to talk to you about the game on the weekend, because obviously you were there. But maybe firstly, if we can, there's the cat. There's the new show Cat has just arrived. So Simon, firstly, we're going to run a competition in a bit, by the way, as well for Martin Davis. We're giving away a pennant, which is a really lovely bit of kit. We'll talk about that in a bit. Just tell us, for those people who don't know, because it's really new, Cardiff City World for City fans. What is it all about?
Yeah, so basically, Cardiff City World is a new YouTube channel, which is effectively a fan channel for Cardiff City, which first and foremost, I think is well overdue. It's Cardiff City content 7 days a week, obviously including the phone in on a Monday, Cardiff City World podcast on a Wednesday, Super Kev McNaughton's podcast on a Tuesday. For instance, this week we've got Michael Chopra Part 1 podcast, which I filmed before Christmas, a post show about an hour after the games on Saturday and in midweek as well. It's basically just different Cardiff City fans doing different style, different type of content, short content, long content, talking Cardiff City all the time. And we're keen for, as many different views and as many different fans to get involved. So apart from the ones who are already, on board and helping us out, we're keen for more. So if there's City fans out there who want to have their say or create a bit of content on their phone or their laptop or whatever, then definitely get in contact with myself or Ace Podcast Nation. You'll find us everywhere.
And the cat, is that a Cardiff City cat? Is it a Cardiff City cat, that one?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all Cardiff City cats.
What's the cat called?
This is Buddy. He's a nightmare.
I've got a cat called Buddy. Oh, there we go. So Buddy can be the Cardiff City mascot, yeah, on the show, yeah?
Which is 3 kittens, and that one is normal. I put them all out when we record, and that one just hid somewhere, and he just appeared as soon as I speaking.
The idea was good. Richard, you were there on the weekend. Great win, away at Watford. I don't think, going back to what I was saying before we went live tonight, to be honest, none of us were that confident, to say the least. Looking forward to it, because at that point on the last show, of course, it was before all the players came in, all the transfers came in, like a day or two later. So talk me through a little bit, Richard, in terms of, in your opinion, City deserved the win, and was it back against the wall? It was a mixture of those things.
It was very much, probably the last 20 minutes of that game was very much backs against the wall. We defended really well, to be honest, defended well as a unit. Collins had his best game probably for a good few months. Siopis in the middle of the park, he was immense. He was back to what he was like when we first signed him, like buzzing around in the middle of the park, winning balls, sometimes losing possession, but he was quite decent. Keeper Alnick had a good game.
Yeah.
We look really solid. Everything they threw at us, we defended our box really well. We had the chances. We created a few things in the first half. Second half, we didn't really sort of create a lot. But you'd expect Watford then to really start, asking questions. But they didn't really have anything really to break us down. They, apart from a deflected effort which hit the post, I think towards the end. Alnick wasn't really that troubled. I thought it was a really good away performance, and good following up there as well. So I think before the game, people are a bit surprised that he hadn't made any changes, considering he brought five players in the window. That he stayed he stayed loyal to the team that played the previous week. But it was quite nice to see a bench where we got a bit of quality on the bench, and there's a bit of strength in that bench as well. So he brought on Nat Phillips. He came on. Romeo came on as fullback, and the lad from Man City, he came on, and in the end he dropped back into the fullback position. But I think Watford saw him as a bit of a sort of like a weakling down that wing. So they a lot of things went down their right hand side then. And they did get behind a couple of times, but every time the ball went in the box, Gutas and McGuinness or Phillips just dealt with it in the end.
So there's
it was a good win. It was a good win.
Yeah, it's great. And of course our friends down west lost. So one of our favourite songs came out, which was nice.
Oh, it did. It did come out. I've never felt more like singing the blues. It was given a lovely airing. I gave it an airing in an Irish bar in Watford late that evening.
Oh, well done.
Well.
And just to say, we're 5 points from the playoffs, and they're 5 points from the drop. But moving on, I don't know. There's a comment on the screen. I'm not sure whether you can see it. From Chris Hughes Jones. Hi, Rich and Co. Fair to say we were a bit lucky to win at Watford, or I suppose a little bit like your response just now, really, in terms of whether it was just we deserved it based on the way we defended. I suppose also tactically, do you think it was well thought out? Would you say?
I think so. I thought I just thought it was a really good, solid away performance where we created that one moment of quality in the first half because Bowler was having a poor game up until that point. He was losing possession. The ball was going behind him. He was struggling to get into the game, and then he does something like that, which is sort of like, whoa. But obviously sent us berserk, and a nice way to go in at half time. But I just thought second half, everything they threw at us, even in the first half, we just defended well.
So Richard,
sometimes you got to do that when you're away from home. You can't expect you don't expect champagne football, and Watford's traditionally one of these places where we don't tend to get we don't over the years we haven't got much.
No, I was going to ask you. I can't remember with that accent of yours. Where does that accent come from originally? Sort
of like mixture of sort of like London, Bedfordshire.
Yeah, I'm thinking not that far maybe from Watford, is it?
Yeah, something. Yeah, well, Luton's sort of like just down the road, isn't it?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Well, technically, that's the team. If you support a team which is close to where you're born, that's the team I should support. But my dad had better ideas, so So I was quite happy to be brought up a City fan. Apart from when we lost 3-1 and 7-1 in the space of 6 months to them. I was in school there.
Yeah,
it would a good time to be sent into school with your Cardiff City scarf on anyway on that Monday after you've been smashed 7-1 away at Luton.
No, probably best not. So Al, it was a lovely surprise, wasn't it? That was a really great surprise. I thought,
I think we were really, really on. We were all on down there last week, weren't we? We were on the back. We were on the back of Bullet saying, "Well, we needed this, we needed that." I don't know if it's fantastic mind games from him and saying, "I need 4 or 5. I'm really disappointed," and now we've got 4 or 5. Or was he playing his cards close to his chest? I don't think he was. I think that was, he shot from the hip. I don't know if he ever thought we were going to get the quality of the players that we've got in. Turnbull in particular, does that go to show? In days gone by, Turnbull, I think, would have been like a Premier League player, but they've got so much influx from abroad now. I think the best Scottish players now end up perhaps in the Championship, don't they? I mean, a friend of mine is a Celtic season ticket holder, and he's been bombarding me with texts, basically saying how good this lad is. His goals per minutes on the field, I think, was something like twice as good as his nearest competitor in the Stats League in the Scottish Premier League. He said, "We can't believe we've got rid of him." Whether or not his agent's done a bit of a job, he's saying, "Well, look, his contract's up." There was a press going around just before the beginning of the season, linking him, would you believe, with AC Milan in the Scottish record. I couldn't believe it. Okay, yeah, I mean, again, it might have been his agent just feeding something. I don't know, but look, getting in someone like him on a 3.5-year contract, okay, a bit of a controversial view, I would say. I think his signing for us is better than if we'd have had Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore might have come in for half a season. I don't think we're going to get promoted, even with a Kiefer Moore. We could build around this lad. He's young. As I say, 3.5-year contract. They've got the new keeper in on a longer contract. I've said it before about City having some consistency and building something from foundations. if you're getting players in on this sort of contract, now's the time. Pin the manager down and let's start building something. Okay, we might not go up this year. Okay, we might not get to the playoffs. If we get in the top 10, build on from next year. If this is the quality of the signings that we can now get, then I'm quite happy. Finish 10th, build on it. And going back to what Rich said about, he started with the same 11 from the game before. Perhaps they've had a rocket up their backsides and thought, hang on, I'm going to lose my place. What's going to happen? What's going to happen here? Ryan Wintle, who had a poor game the game before, he was given the captaincy, wasn't it? If I was Ryan Wintle now, who I criticised last week, he's probably thought, I need to play now to get into that team. And the best teams have that, someone to come in. We hadn't had it before.
Do you think Ryan, use his new car to go to the match on the weekend?
I put nails down on the floor in front of it so they couldn't get into it. Yeah, you are right. No, I think the Dubai break did them all good. It was quite funny, Steve. After he's saying, the players did well after a little break, and we said it before. They'd had a long break in January. Leading up to the FA Cup, perhaps a long break on the training field, but he's done something right there, isn't he?
Yeah. There's quite a lot of chat coming in. Just to ask Simon, I've put that on the screen now, just to say, because we've not done it this way before. Can everyone else see that chat now?
Yeah, everyone can see that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Simon, when comment from Paul Williams, and when Colwell went off, the game changed, and it was another kind of Cardiff hanging on event with Alnwick being the best player for us. I don't know how much did you catch much of the game on the weekend?
Yeah. So I watched all of it, and I think a few things that stuck out for me sort of very quickly is, number one, I thought I agree with what Al said about Wintle. Wintle, Robinson, and Bowler have been three players who I've been particularly critical of their attitudes at some points, particularly when things go maybe not to plan or we're not on the front foot. But I thought Wintle, before the January window, was pretty much assured that if Rawls wasn't available, he was going to play. There was no one else to really sit in next to Siopis. And I also agree with Al about Turnbull being the best signing of the window. I like that everything it doesn't have to be big names. Whilst I enjoy being linked with some of the players we got linked with, I think the balance of the players that we brought in has been very well done. It's round pegs in round holes. They can play in the system that we normally play, like that 4-2-3-1, but they can also slip into that 3-5-2 quite easily, which the manager likes sometimes as well. But in terms of Saturday, I thought Alnwick was absolutely outstanding, which was interesting to me because in my preview, I speculated that the manager, he doesn't seem to fancy Alnwick for whatever reason, hence why he tried to shoehorn Runnison in at the start of the season. And obviously he's brought Howverth in, who's an excellent championship goalkeeper, but he also does a few things that Alnwick doesn't do, like he dominates his area, comes for crosses. He's a big keeper. So Alnwick's under a bit of pressure. Wintle's under a bit of pressure. And Jamalu Collins had looked tired before this little break. And they all looked, one, like they were playing for their spots, but two, they just looked a bit revitalised. I still don't expect Wintle to start the next game, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think Turnbull will be in there sooner than later. Bowler frustrates me because he's capable of magic like that goal. And when he's very direct, he works hard. He can be a very, very dangerous player. And he's almost like a throwback winger. If you put him on the left, I think it would be perfect, but everyone loves.
Let's stick him on the left then.
I wish they would, because beat a man and put some crosses in the box. Yeah. But everyone loves these inverted wingers.
Yeah, well, they seem to these days.
But I also thought Ruben Colwell specifically, but also the other midfielders, did a great job of pretty much taking Jake Livermore out of the game. The way Watford play, everything goes through Livermore. He's the one who progresses the ball through the lines up to the attacking players who then create. But he's also the player who sweeps up. He's the player who takes it off for defence. And every time he got the ball, Colwell was around him, pressuring him, just nipping at his heels. and that in the end, Livermore went off, and I think that was a big thumbs up to the manager and to the players that they took off the player who's their most influential player. He was my man to watch in the preview as well, because everything goes through him.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a good job of stopping him from dictating the game, and then you know, to defend well away from home. And I thought it was your man said there, it was a very, very good away performance, and it reminded me of some of the earlier performances in the season, the Sunderland game, where we got we missed a big chance, and then Leicester scored at the end. But ultimately, I thought I like his plan away from home of be solid and then try and hit teams on the break. And I also think now we've got the players to do that with Turnbull.
Okay. We've got loads of comments coming in. Ordinarily, my right hand man would step in here and check them beforehand, but we can't do that this way. However, we're going to do something slightly different here. So Martin Davis, who does an amazing job with the fan community at Cardiff City, has managed to get a lot of really lovely pennants. You know, for those of us old enough to remember the old European Cup Winners' Cup days and the exchange of pennants at the start of the game. So he's got a load of them put together. They're really, really nice, and they're updated. So like, our League Cup and FA Cup appearances and all the rest have been added to it. So they're lovely. And we got one to give away tonight. So I'm going to try and read people's faces in the room now. So don't shout out the answer. Yeah. So we got a competition to win one of these, and Al's going to talk you through the mechanic of how you can enter in a second. Yeah, I'll pass over to you, Al, for that in a sec. But the question is, who was the former Welsh Cardiff City striker who scored both our goals in the away leg of our last official matches in European Cup Winners' Cup matches in Europe versus Standard Liège in season 93-94? And there's a knowing nod there from Al, I think. Yeah. Who was the former Welsh City striker who scored both our goals in the away leg of our last official matches in the European Cup Winners' Cup matches in Europe versus Standard Liège in season 93-94? If you know, Al, how do they enter?
So what you need to do is, it's a bit confusing, but go on Facebook to Cardiff City Phone In New. So there's an old page called Cardiff City Phone In, I think CCPI. Ignore that, delete that. Go to Cardiff City Phone In New. If you haven't liked that page, then like it. And once you have liked it, you'll be able to message the page. If you can then message the page with your correct answer, or possibly your incorrect answer, what we'll then do is we'll be able to take the correct answers and we'll put them into a draw effectively, and then we'll announce the winner of the pennants next week. I hope everyone followed that. Cardiff City Phone In New page on Facebook, and just like it, then message us.
So some people are chipping in with answers straight away here, but if you can do that for us, the reason for it really is, to some extent, we're just trying to build an audience, you know. So we're just trying to build an audience, and thanks to Cardiff City World, because it goes out now on the Cardiff City World YouTube channel, also goes out on the Cardiff City Phone In YouTube channel, but also goes on our new Cardiff City Phone In New page on Facebook. And because we're able to stream on there again, we'd really love to build up a community of fans. So if you just, humor us, if you know the answer, which looks like some of you might, looking at some responses, please go to the Cardiff City Phone In New page on Facebook, which you might already be listening to right now. Just put your name into the chat, and then we're going to put the names in a hat. Is that right, Al? And select them some way.
We will. We'll put the names into a hat, and we'll try and delete the incorrect or correct messages that people have already.
Yes. Okay.
I can do that if you want, Steve. If you want me to delete.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. That'd be great. Okay, so I'll come back to you, Richard. And were you as blow me down with a feather shocked by the starting lineup that you saw? Because after all the kind of excitement of the new players coming in, and I looked at it. I did a double take when I saw the starting lineup. I thought, am I looking at the wrong week? Because it was like exactly the same, And I looked at the bench.
I think there was quite a few shocked people in the pub on Saturday when they saw the starting lineup, because they thought, well, you're bringing these players in, you need to start some of them, and some of them have been playing first team football. So sometimes normally when you bring players in on loan, you normally tend to start them, don't you? A lot of them you tend to throw in. I was quite surprised we didn't start with Turnbull. I got to be honest. I agree with what Al said here. This boy's a footballer. He can play. He can score goals. He can attack. He looks, like when you've seen what he's done with Celtic. Some of the goals he scored at Celtic have been like top drawer. We haven't had sort of like a midfielder that strides forward, looks up, and hits the target, and that's what he looks like doing. The lad who was at Bristol City, I can't remember his name now. He came on as a sub, but he won basically everything in the air. Every ball that went up to him, he got a head onto. And I think Phillips is in the Championship. I think with Bournemouth when they got promoted.
Yeah.
And I think he was part of mainstay of their back four that season. So, it was a little bit of a surprise that he had actually stuck with the players that had sort of like folded so badly at Plymouth a couple of weeks before.
Yeah. Do you think what Al said earlier, maybe it was a bit of a kind of bit of mind games there from Bullet to do that, I
think sometimes you've got to do that as well, haven't you? And but as Al said, some of these players have not had pressure put on them, have they? Because there hasn't been that competition for their places.
Exactly right.
So sometimes when you've got players who are very comfortable and they know they're not going to be dropped, their performance levels drop. Sometimes their performance levels do drop, don't they?
Yeah.
And you've got to then you bring someone in who's going to be battling for their places. Yeah, I think we probably benefited from having a bit of a sort of like a mid-season enforced break because we got knocked out of the FA Cup.
Yeah,
but
deliberately, wasn't it?
Deliberately got knocked out. To concentrate on mid-table mediocrity, which I'll be quite happy with. To sort of like, it's given them, I think, given that sort of like emphasis, isn't it? It's given them that emphasis. Sort of like to go on. I thought Saturday, some of the players did have their best games for quite a while.
Yes, yes, and I want to put a question to you, which has come in because I appreciate there's loads of comments coming in tonight. I'll go to one in a second for you. I'll go to you, Anna Richard, actually, because it's most relevant to you, I think, at the moment. But if you think about it, Jamila Collins has been struggling, really. He hasn't been the player he's been. He had a much better game. Gutas, said, drop me at your peril. Wintle made the most of that midfield appearance, and then Almec made a major shout for staying in goal as well. I think Horvath, he's a decent keeper and breathing down his neck, but he wasn't even in the squad. So anyway, let's go to the comment from I think he'd be in the squad in the weekend, by the way. Steve Thomas, evening gents, walking back to the car after the game, overheard a Watford fan comment on how good our team spirit was, which is a bit of a shock, really, from previous weeks, to be honest. Bullet did well in giving the existing players a chance ahead of the new ones. Did you pick up on that as well, Richie, briefly?
I would say that, like, the way they actually, especially the way they defended as a team, there was no one hiding. No, there's no one sort of like pulling out of tackles. Everyone was like chasing down, putting pressure on Watford. On the other players when they had balls. So when they had the ball, they didn't have that sort of like pressure to dictate. And I think it was quite a good point that was made earlier that Livermore was basically anonymous in that game. I didn't even know he was on the pitch, to be honest, because he didn't do anything. And I saw him a couple of weeks earlier play against QPR for them, and he ran the show.
Do you think, Rick, do you think away from home possibly? There's a different sort of pressure, but we haven't got the pressure of the home crowd because we've done well away from home. Notwithstanding they've been ropey performances, but we've come away with some points, haven't we? And I just wonder, is the expectation, perhaps, especially in younger players at home, that little bit more? And would we have won that game? Would we have been more nervy? Is the word, I suppose, at home?
I think we would have been, because I think sometimes. Even when we played at Ninian Park in front of a couple of thousand, it weren't a good place to be a home player if you weren't playing well.
Yeah,
and I think away from home, there's more like a bit of a togetherness with the supporters and the team, and there's a connection, and the connection is there. I think because if the team give 100% and they give a lot of and they put a shift in, we're quite forgiving. But I think is if you're seeing players going through that, sometimes you do see players just going through the motions at home. I'm quite pleased Robinson's nowhere near the team at the moment, because I would have sold him in January.
If anyone wanted him,
I just think it's a hard. Sometimes we are a very hard crowd to please. And I think we always have been because, like players like even Peter Whittingham, there's people sit behind me and they were moaning about Whittingham. And I was saying, well, hang on a second. Mackay has taken all the pace we had out of this team. So we never had someone like Chopra, or spinning off, making a run for Wits to play the ball. We had a static forward line. So all he's doing with the ball, he's keeping hold of the ball, passing it sideways where he needs to pass the ball to. Yeah. I just think I think when if we're playing well at home, it's a great place to play. I think when we're struggling to break teams down, and inadvertently, a lot of teams come to Cardiff and they will like we do away from home. They set up now to to defend and come away with a point. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes you do see that teams will just come and they would just sit there. Like when you play someone like Preston are traditionally sort of like a team that just want to try and hit a team on the break.
Yeah, but conversely, I think home games can be a great place for a debutant, and possibly quite clever that you say, hang on, I think he's definitely going to play Turnbull, and introducing Turnbull to the crowd, getting the crowd going, and we'll all get a bit of David Turnbull. They've already started chanting his name and all this sort of stuff. And I think if we start well against Preston on Saturday with a couple of new signings, it's getting that momentum going again.
It wouldn't surprise me that he will play the lad that came on up front on Saturday, and he will play Turnbull.
Yeah, so is that the Senegalese lad?
Yeah, the Senegalese.
Here we go again.
He worked quite hard. Well, I can't remember his name. It's a problem.
Can I help you? Sorry, can I help you? Because I watched this, Steve. Okay.
Yeah.
After we had our debacle with Perry Ng.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The new lad at Friend, right, is despite the spelling, because I've watched it, it's Jeju.
Jeju, is it?
Jeju.
Right. Okay. Not Big Dave then.
Big Dave.
Well, it will be to us. But see, I'm going to take Al's comment, and I'm going to respond by saying, in my opinion, it's not pronounced that way, right? But I looked at a different site, and because he's sent it, I'll come back to you now, Simon. By the way, sorry.
Sorry.
This is just
over to you.
Is because he's from Senegal, and one of the principal languages of Senegal is French. So I believe, and I've checked on a different site. I'm not saying you're wrong, Al. Just put a different view out there. I'm going with Dietiou.
I tell you why it's not Dietiou, and it's
Dietiou.
I said it's why it's not Dietiou, and it's Jeju, because Big Dave gave an interview in his Bristol City, and I asked him, "How do you pronounce your name?" And he went, "Jeju."
Big Dave is
Jeju.
Oh, and the man himself.
The man himself.
Honestly,
the only reason I'm so confident is I saw an interview with him, and they asked him, "How do you pronounce your name?"
Well, it's his name, isn't
it?
I tell you what, Simon, it's nice to spend 10 minutes on a name of a player, isn't it?
I just found out I've pronounced it about 3 or 4 different ways, mate. In my previews and in the transfer stuff.
There's a whole stack of loads and loads and loads. Thanks for all the comments. It's fantastic. Nigel Harris, quite a long one. He's talking about how we actually had three successive wins at Watford, funny enough. And he goes on to say that he thought actually he doesn't agree that it wasn't a game for Rambo, Simon. He could have got us upfield and calmed things after Colwell came on. But fair dues, defended well. And Richard, he says, I was at the 7-1 at Luton. Ray Bishop scored our goal to make it 5-1. I thought the comeback was on, but my mates left. But what's your thoughts on that, Simon? In that Ramsey, man, we've missed him for so long.
Yes,
he comes back in, sits there on the bench, gets a few chilblains, and jumps back on the bus.
Yeah, I think so. There's 2 aspects to it there. Like, you've got to manage his comeback. We all want him back. I'm sure the players want him back, the manager and everything. But would 5 minutes, in a cold London stadium have done him that much good? 10 minutes, would it have really physically? I mean, improved his match fitness. Maybe would he have got him a bit more up to speed? I don't know. And to me, I think there's some big games coming up. Yes, I agree that when Colwell went off, the game changed. And I also agree with the comment which said that Ramsey could have made a difference. I do agree with that, but I also suspect that he's probably not quite up to playing 20, 30 minutes at the moment.
Okay.
They just got to wrap him in cotton wool a little bit and gradually bring him back. The good thing is we have got some other options for a change.
Yeah, I'm more so than ever, but with the transfer window, I was really, really excited about Turnbull and Jeff Delacruz. He's lives out in Ireland, but I don't know whether he's got some connections with Celtic fans. But like I think it was either you or Al said, he's well thought of at Celtic, but they've got a huge squad. But he reckons he could be our new John Buchanan. If he's anywhere near that level, that would be fantastic. I'll go to you this one. A response from Nigel. You'll like this one. I'll just put it up on the screen. I'm sure you guys will like this one. Any predictions for how Swansea get on in their derby next season versus Wrexham?
Maybe Newport County in a few years' time then as well.
Not that I'm interested or anything, but have you seen their matches coming up? They're going to be in a relegation battle before you know it. They got Hull away coming up.
Super.
Ipswich, I think Leeds.
Ipswich, Leeds, and
Leeds
someone else. Well.
They're in. Yeah, they're in trouble. You'll have to excuse me. What was happening, Steve? I was following this on a YouTube channel, and I was looking at comments from there, and I just realised we're back on Facebook.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah. That's okay.
I was thinking you were saying Nigel.
No, we're on both. We're on both simultaneously.
I was like, I can't see Nigel Harris's comments. Where are they?
All right. Okay. Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, it would be. That's right. Yeah.
Sue Coleman has just said a fantastic thing. We've decided at Premier Bluebirds, his name is Hey Jude.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic, isn't it? But imagine the sound of it. Yeah, I like that. So just stick with Simon for now. So Steve Wiggy Wiggins says, not like Steve Wiggy Wiggins to be a little bit more outspoken. He was aiming this one at you, Al, but I'll put it to Simon. We don't want to go up this year. We wouldn't have a cat's hell's chance of staying. No offense to your cat, of staying up. Mid-table, if Bullet doesn't start shutting up shop early second half, a decent 3 points and just so kind of faint praise there.
So for me, I said at the start of the season, and I haven't really changed my opinion, was that this season, if we could get top 10, that was progress, big progress on the last couple of seasons. But it also was about getting some players out for a variety of reasons, refreshing the squad a little bit, which he has. And also then in this upcoming summer, if we can get top 10 finish, we can build on it. And then the next 2 seasons are where you can kick on with this manager and we really have a team that he's built. Like, it's only now it's starting to look like his team, really. In terms of this year, I agree. If we went up, if we somehow snuck into the playoffs and got through the playoffs and ended up getting promoted, we'd come straight back down and it would be painful viewing in the Premier League. We're not there yet. It's about not just getting promoted. It's about building and building a team and a platform where you can maintain it. And I think if you look at the teams who managed to do that over the years, like Stoke, Brentford, all these teams who went up, they did it when they were ready to go up. They built gradually, improved gradually in the Championship until their squad was good enough to make that jump, and then made the right signings when they went up without blowing the budget on players which are just there for the money and things like this. I honestly, if we could, I would like, my ideal world this year would just be that we kind of make a late run for the playoffs, which means we finish the season strong. Yep. As long as top 10, I'm happy.
Okay, so let me just come off the back of that then and go to Richard with the next one. Just to say, Al, before that, briefly, have we got any entries on the Facebook page as yet? Do you know?
Hang on a second,
because I'm gonna give the question one more time because we've got like 9 minutes.
Right. So this is live television, isn't it? Or live, whatever it's called nowadays. The only person with access to that message box is you.
Excellent. So a bit of homework call for after the show. Okay, fair enough. So we go back to the show, yeah. So come back to what Simon just said. Viv Granfield, hi Viv. Thanks for getting in touch. Great to hear from you. Great vocal support on Saturday. Nice to see Siopis back, and he played very well. 10 more points, and we're safe. And then we can push on, hopefully, giving some of our younger players some game time. What's your thoughts on that, Richard?
Well, look, judging by what's happening with some of our younger players, a lot of our younger players seem to have been sent out on loan since in the window.
Yeah.
So a few have gone up to Scotland. Some have gone to sort of like
Sligo?
Conference South teams. Some have gone out to Ireland.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes they're better off going out playing men's football at a competitive level where it is going to be physical. And the under 21s, under 23s leagues is not really fit for purpose because players I don't think it's that competitive. It's not like when you used to have the football combination where you'd have like a mixture of first teamers and youth team players playing in it. So, it would be a competitive standard because it's basically the team away from the first team, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think probably after Saturday, I think he knows what his squad is for the remainder of the season. In terms of, are we going to see Joel Colwell? No. Are we going to see Kane Ashford? No. Okay. Are we going to see Ollie Tanner? I think Ollie Tanner might find himself out of the first team picture in a few weeks' time.
Because we still got, even on the weekend we got Rawls, Robinson, and Horvath who weren't in that squad. One's a keeper, and Ramsey's going to get more of a push. I'll come to you with this one. Just to say, the question tonight was, who was the former Welsh City striker who scored both of our goals in the away leg of our last official matches in the European Cup Winners' Cup matches in Europe versus Standard Liège in season 93-94? If you know the answer, please, can you go to our Facebook Cardiff City Phone In New page and put your answer in there? And if you can like the page at the same time, that would be great, because we're just trying to kind of build an audience. Ace Podcast Nation, I've heard of that. I've heard of them somewhere. Have come in, Al, with a comment. They wouldn't personally bring Robinson back into the squad at the moment. Has a bit of a poor attitude, and Colwell has been excellent. What's your thoughts on Colwell versus Robinson?
I agree with the comment about Robinson. Don't like to berate players too much, but on the field he just seems to be a lot sort of throwing his hands in the air sort of thing, and it's not for me. I think we can do better. I really do. Someone come in. I mean, I like Ateti's attitude, I've got to say. I don't know how young he was. I see someone's made a comment saying you put a weak link on the weekend, but then similarly, it's all about opinions, isn't it? I'd read a Watford player saying how good they thought he was, a Watford supporter rather. But I think a hungry youngster is far better. I thought when we got Robinson in, given his pedigree, I really, really thought that he'd offer us a lot more than he has done. And I've got to say, I haven't been impressed with what I've seen.
He's had a very disappointing season, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's a talented footballer, but he just hasn't shown his best.
One thing I feel sorry for him slightly, and it's very slightly, because I think his attitude's been awful. So I agree with my son who put that comment. But he's probably heavily influenced by my ranting as well, in fairness. But I do agree that his attitude has been poor. However, I also think that his best position is either through the middle as an out-and-out number 9 running in behind, or off the left, and he hasn't played there once all season. And I think that might have something to do with why he's potentially sulking a little bit. But I certainly don't think he's a number 10, and I would pick Colwell over him all day long while Ramsey's not available. But yeah, it's tricky, and he's on a lot of money as well, supposedly. Which is another aspect to it.
I was a little bit surprised. Put it a different way, I wouldn't have been surprised if he hadn't actually moved on, particularly if any money had changed hands actually during the transfer window, because it just feels to me like for the player as well. Just feels like things have gone a bit stale, because I do think he's a really talented player. So Atete, Chris Hughes-Jones came in, can't hold the ball well enough. The new striker did really well when he came on. Talking about the new striker, this is just for you and Alia. Sue, have you seen this with Sue Coleman? No. Hey, Jude, fantastic. That's got to be starting this Saturday, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Turnbull's got the new Peter Thorne song.
Has he?
Yes.
Already?
Yeah,
Already.
I don't think you've ever gone time for Swansea or Wrexham, was he? Let's be honest, but
no, he would have gone there.
Jonathan Wilkins. Oh, John. I was up at Vicarage Road on Saturday. I thought our play at the start of the second half was good, with high intensity, and we upped the tempo a bit, and keep playing Colwell as a 10. I mean, that's something. Simon, would you basically you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think Colwell as his attributes and skill set are completely different to every kind of stereotypical number 10. He's not small and got a low center of gravity, and he still picks up the same positions, but he works exceptionally hard, and he's physical, and he really unsettled Jake Livermore on Saturday. And I'm not even talking about his attacking attributes, where obviously I thought he did quite well on Saturday. He's young, so of course sometimes he holds it a bit long, or he tries to beat that extra man. But it's because he's eager and he's trying to create. So I'd allow that. But his work off the ball was a big reason why Cardiff won on Saturday. Not saying it was all down to him, but Jake Livermore, as I mentioned earlier, is so vital to the way Watford play. He did a job on him, and I think until Ramsey's fully up to speed, I would keep Colwell at 10. And I'd also, which goes against everything which I said earlier in the season, which was at the start of the season and the early parts of the season, I said, play Colwell 10, do not play him anywhere else. I've been that impressed with him in recent months that when Ramsey's fully fit and ready, I would think about playing him in one of the wide areas, because I don't think Bowler's made that position his own, and Grant on the outside probably the same. So all Ruben Colwell can do is what he's doing, which is playing pretty well, working hard, and playing for the badge. I think the rest of his qualities will eventually shine through.
Yeah, because I just follow. Appreciate it. We've only got 15 minutes. By the way, if you're going to have a go with the competition, please do it via the Facebook page. I even got my niece sending me messengers. Messages. So we're trying something here. But thanks, Martin, anyway, for the prize tonight. Anyway, we'll see if we can sort out a way of getting a winner. But I was going to come back to you, Richard, with the next bit of come back off what Simon said. Right.
Yeah.
So, because the way I see that, that's really, really good. It's really good for Cardiff City, and it's really good for Wales. If Ramsey's batting for Colwell for that number 10 position, but where would you play? Where it's early days, I know. If that's the case, if they're battling out, where does Turnbull fit in there? Is he deeper? Is he?
You know something? I could see Colwell playing up front. I could see him being an out-and-out striker in a few years' time.
Because of his,
I think he's. I've got to be. His work rate is second to none. He's really that has really picked up in a lot, and because he's getting more game time as well. You can see that there's more confidence when he's on the ball, and he works incredibly hard for the team. Which I think at the start of the season, Bullet was saying, "Well, this is what I want for you. I want my players to work hard," and this is why Robinson's not in the team, because he doesn't work hard enough. Because you got Kieran Grant, who West Brom fans weren't sort of like too enamoured with, and they warned us about Robinson. They said about Robinson's attitude: if things aren't going his way, he tends to sulk. But Kieran Grant doesn't he works incredibly hard as well. So I think I like what I certainly like what Colwell's been doing over the last couple of months. I just think he's missing the goal. If he gets a couple of goals, I think that's going his confidence is going to skyrocket. And I think you play Turnbull in the midfield with alongside Ramsey, and maybe you go have three at the back, have three centre halves, put Perry and G out wide as a sort of like on the right, and then you have that axis then of Ramsey, Siopis, and Turnbull, and then Collins maybe as an overlapping on the left hand side, and you play two up top.
Yeah, and it's interesting you're talking about that because
one just behind the front man.
Yeah,
and I would certainly play Colwell in that position.
So I've just put a link into the Cardiff City phone-in page. By the way, people are saying, "What how did we get to it?" Sorry, Simon, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was going to say earlier in the season. I think it was an EFL Cup game, but I think he tried it in one of the league games as well. He did revert to like a 3-5-2, which I think the manager really likes. And I think if you look at the players he's signed, I think there's definitely one eye on that system. But what I know
he did that against Birmingham, wasn't it? Birmingham in the League Cup. He did play a recognised centre half in that game.
No. But I think what he did with that system was instead of playing like the two up front in two traditional strikers, he played like a striker and then almost like two number 10s behind. So I could see him setting up with like the three centre backs. He's brought that new left wing back in, the youngster. Obviously, he's quite highly rated and supposed to be preferred position as a wing back. Obviously, NG can do that. So I agree. You could end up with Siopis and Turnbull as a two, with Turnbull being a bit more attack minded, and then Ramsey and Colwell behind. I've forgotten his name. Dave.
Yeah,
Big Dave.
Just remember, hey Jude, you can't go wrong there, can you? Really?
Oh yeah.
Loads of messages coming in. We'll go through some more of them in a second. By the way, just to say, Simon, thanks ever so much for setting it up like this. It's great, It's really, really good. It's great to be on the new Cardiff City World, which has city content 7 days a week. So take advantage of that. And I'll come back to Simon in a second because I know we've got a couple of events he wants to talk about coming up. Al, you must have been, I would have thought, devastated knowing you by the news that Neil Warnock's gone to manage Aberdeen.
I know. My wife Sharon. Honestly, well, there we are. I was scraping the back. No, I can't say that because he is a bit of a hero to people. I just don't really understand that. But there we go. I thought you were going to say I was devastated that Plymouth Argyle recorded their first away win of the season on Saturday. But obviously, you don't want me to say that.
Yeah, you said it now. All
right, sorry. There we go. They're playing. Well, their fans all year going, "Oh, Morgan Whittaker will score against Cardiff, this, that, and the other," and then
scores
the winner against them. So
probably his first goal down there, wasn't it?
I tell you what, though, I think he's really, honestly, he's become a really, really good player. He has, seriously. But nice to see him score down.
Right? Watch this space. They are in trouble. Okay.
Yeah,
they are in trouble.
Well, let's hope it continues out.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to do an open top bus parade through the streets of Mumbles if that's the case.
We'll set Butler down with you as well.
This is just so different to last week. Here we are laughing at Swansea, blimey, everything's one result changes everything. I'll stick with you now, and I want to go around the panel on this one, right? Okay. The comment from Dalman that we're fairly relaxed about our manager's contract. He's out of contract in just a few months' time. We've just signed a load of players. It seems to me rather odd that they're not making some sort of making more of a clearer decision to me. Al, don't you think?
I just can't. I heard someone the other day say about Dalman saying, typical politician sort of state. I don't understand where they come from. I can never really know. Is it a lot of smoke and mirrors? I'll believe it when I see it. This sort of thing. I wasn't expecting the club to bring in 4 or 5 quality signings in the way that they did. That didn't happen overnight. They've obviously been working hard behind the scenes. I would like us. All I just want is just some stability, but just some stability. That's all I'm looking for, really. And then kick on next year.
Okay, Simon.
I believe he's got an option, haven't he? The club has got an option to automatically trigger. I think is something. If you read the initial statement, I think it says something like he's on a 1-year contract with the option of an additional one. Look, I think the majority of the fan base, I obviously can't speak for everyone. I think the majority of people have seen enough positives that they would like to see him tied up for 2 or 3 years. But look, let's be honest. The Cardiff City board, not always renowned for their proactive thinking and preparation.
Really?
I don't know. It's. I think they should offer. I would like to see him sign a 3-year contract, and I would like to see him build, because I believe if he, as I said earlier, I believe if we back him, and that doesn't have to be. I think he's shown in January. It doesn't have to be tens of millions of pounds and risk the future of the club. It just has to be the right players.
Yeah.
For what he's trying to build, and
Okay.
I'd like to see what that looks like.
And Richard, before I go to you, just what I was going to say earlier, like my mate Jeff, I mean, I've never known him have such an articulate message from him, talking about these different systems and formations, and it strikes me as we're as fans, we're starting to kind of change our mindsets a little bit, but the beauty of the fact is we brought in 5, arguably 6 players, yeah. And now we can start thinking about formations and different ways of playing, can't we?
I think so, and I think this is what he's probably looking for. He's probably looking for that little bit of quality, which can play a number of positions across, either around the back, through the back 4, or in midfield, or even up top. So I think he's probably got the options now, which he didn't have at the start of the season, in relation to the personnel, where he can play the system he wants to play. I think, and but one good thing in this transfer window, we have offloaded a few sort of like of Steve Morrison's wonder signings from a couple of years ago. So I quite like Rinomoto. He's been decent, but we've got rid. We've started clearing the books in relation to that as well.
Okay.
Monte Campbell, he never played. So
no, well, he played half a game once, didn't he?
Yeah, half a game, got sent off. It was an impressive debut.
I could do that. But the one that surprised me, though, Richard, just to say, is I'm surprised Romain Sawyers is still on the books, because now we're through January and he's still somehow or other hanging in there.
He is. I quite liked him last season. Towards the end of the season, when we had that change of management again, I thought towards the end of the season, he was probably one of our better players in midfield.
He was getting picked quite a lot by Limerick.
He uses the ball when he has got possession of the ball. He uses the football really well. But you've got to have quality. You've got to have quality around him as well. And we didn't have that quality last season. But he could be a useful player if we have an injury crisis in the middle of the park. If you need someone to just put your foot on the ball and start to dictate play, because he can do that. He's done that at other clubs. He's been a good player. He was a good player at West Brom until they sent him out on loan. He was a really good player at Brentford. He's had a good career. He's not a bad footballer.
So just aware, we haven't got that long left. There's some interesting comments coming in. I'm guessing Gaz Cubbins, who is, I think, probably an existing Cardiff City World or Ace Podcast follower. He says it may be a Cardiff page, which is, I don't know what, but I'll always pop in and support Si's incredible content. So I don't know what club he does support. Hopefully that's not a wind up. We don't think it is.
I think it's West Ham.
Oh, is he? Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Good name for West Ham fan, Gaz, isn't it? But then he says, "I can't wait for the Super Kev series tomorrow, which is great." And you are doing some fantastic content, so I know you've got a couple of things coming up. You Chopra, you've got Super Kev, you had Mark Bonner recently. You got another one lined up. Do you want to talk about some of that stuff?
So in terms of content, we dropped a Mark Bonner. The Mark Bonner podcast was, I think, Friday before last, which was a really good one. I really enjoyed that. Reminiscing, it's right up my alley and my era. But he was just a lovely guy, and it was really enjoyable chatting to him. The Kev McNaughton podcast, we filmed that previously. It was 2 seasons of sort of about, I think, 8 to 10 episodes each season. It's a lot of fun. We talk about music, and it's super Kevin scripted. We made our all-time Cardiff 11, all-time Wales 11s.
Oh, nice.
That's going to be showing every Tuesday. We've got part 1 of the Michael Chopper event, which we've held and filmed just before Christmas on Thursday, and then we'll put the second part out the following week. Plus, we've got all the different fan content, previews, match reactions, stuff like that. And then 10th of May is the next live event in the Rose and Crown pub in Pontypridd. We will be welcoming
Snowy's place as well.
Former City legends, well, not former City legends, should I say, former City players, City legend, cult hero, Willie Boland is coming back to Wales. It should be another top night. Tickets are only £10. If you contact snowyinsoul@btconnect.com. There's limited tickets left because they've been selling pretty well. But there is some left, and it'll be a great night. All of those events have been thoroughly enjoyable. And obviously we did Perce, Chopra, and Mr. Campbell.
Simon, how have you all these? I'm fascinated by how you've made all these connections. You know, have you approached former players directly, or have you had people who know them, or
some of them are friends? Willie Boland got me and my wife together 20 years ago.
Wow!
So he's a close friend.
Did he threaten you?
Back a long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm friends with Andy. Some of them, like Kev and that, like some of them I'm friendly with. Some of them I've kind of met through others. Some of them I've had on the podcast. Some of them I've kept in touch with. Just like a range of stuff. Obviously, I'd love to say that from having Mehmet Dalman on my channel multiple times that I've made loads of connections at the club through him. I have not.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't start me on the Mehmet Dalman.
More power to you. I just say more power to you, Simon. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think really, really, really good. And
the live events.
Thank you for letting us get involved, because I think it's really, really cool. Brilliant.
It's my pleasure. I think I'd rather, and I've had this conversation with Steve before. I've had this conversation also with Cullen from the Central Club. I look around sometimes and I see social media, and not just football, but podcasts and all these things, and they're all arguing with each other, and they're all really childish stuff. Whereas to me, like, you've got the Cardiff City phone in, which has been going 20 odd years. I've been doing Ace Podcast Nation a few years now and kind of built that. And I do Cardiff content, which I want to put into its own little place. And I want to create a fan channel, which I think is massively overdue for Cardiff. Yeah. So it makes sense that we all work together to try and build everything up together, innit? I just makes sense to me, you know. And obviously live events is something which I've dipped my finger into just before Christmas, and we got a lot planned for this year. It's going to be fun.
So just wanted to mention as well, Jamie Anderson, thanks for your comment earlier. And I think it'd be really nice to get you on the show one week, actually, Jamie, if you fancied it. And then Paul Williams, which we can't really start this one now, Paul, but such a good comment. I didn't deliberately miss it out at all. We got talking about other stuff, but I just put it on the screen and read it, and maybe we'll come back to it another week. But it's a really interesting one. It's a kind of thought piece to end with, really. But nice to see after one game, nobody's mentioned Joe Rawls at all. How is he ever going to get a game? And he's our captain, you know. So that's something to think about as well, you know, because going back to competition places is going to get more challenging to get in. If you've entered the competition tonight via the Facebook page, Cardiff City Phone in You, you know, when you got to put it in Facebook, Cardiff City Phone in You is there. If you have, great, thank you, and we'll announce the winner on next week's show. I think, Alan, I think that's what you said.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you for all the messages tonight. Thanks again to Simon for involving us at Cardiff City World. And again, going back to what you said about, you know, why compete with each other? Let's talk to each other and be open. I think by us doing that, it helps the Cardiff City, you know, board to move in the same direction, and then we're all on the same page by having good communication systems and talking to each other and helping each other out. Because I tried multiple times to get Mehmet Dalman on this show and never even had a response. But there we go. He is, after all, very busy. Right, we got just quickly whiz round. The last thing we'll do tonight, then, if we whiz round to our match on the weekend against Preston, I'll go to you, Simon, first. Quick prediction.
Oh, on the spot there. I find it very difficult to go against Cardiff. However, I think it's going to be a very, very tricky game. I saw someone say earlier 3-0 to Cardiff, and I was like, I haven't watched us at home this year. I'll go 2-1 Cardiff. 2-0 because I fancy us to keep a clean sheet. I thought we looked solid on Saturday.
Richard?
1-0, but it'll probably be a 0-0 draw.
Okay, Al?
I'm going 1-0. Very edgy, late winner.
Okay, and is Hey Jude going to get the winner?
Hey Jude. J Jude.
Turnbull with a free kick.
There you go.
Finally got a set piece taker.
A big question for you, Simon.
Yes.
I'm only going to ask you this question, okay, for a very particular reason. I guess to end the show, a hit end stream. Is that right?
Yes. End stream, and then it'll do the same thing again. It'll say, "Do you sure you want to end it?"
All right. So thanks all. See you soon.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Brilliant.